Come on, Nylea. Are you really telling me they're that dangerous? They must have weaknesses, right? Like all symbiotes. Things that they're not as good at. Yes, of course they do, Keven. However, their weaknesses are far and few in between. In terms of outright combat and destructive capability, speed, I'm afraid that they are the more superior of the two. I mean, what even are their powers? I replied, starting to feel more frustrated and concerned by the minute. The Voskuhl bloodline's abilities are exceptionally unique. There is no chance that you will mistake them if you see them. The Voskuhl bloodline uses a combination of different telekinetic and physical manipulation, mixing them in a nearly perfect balance. They alter their host's body so that they can produce a very special chemical. Its closest comparison in your world would be something akin to nitroglycerin. You're kidding me. So he's a bomb man. No, Keven. That would be far too simple to ever claim a place as a king's candidate, let alone have been the runner-up in every royal blood competition for nearly 800 years now. They have claimed second place every time, without fail. If my bloodline is ever dissolved, if we are all killed, then without question, it is the Voskuhl bloodline that will assume the reins as the ruling bloodline. It goes far beyond simply creating an explosive mixture. No, their abilities stack, each one amplifying the next, like sending an electrical charge through one amplification device after a next, each one making the charge stronger until it's released. The creating of the explosive liquid is simply the first step. The second step is compression. A powerful telekinetic field is produced within the body. This field contains the liquid, compressing it down. No matter how much it's compressed, it remains stable. This is one of the powers of this unique chemical substance created by the Voskuhl bloodline. You could squeeze an amount the size of an automobile down to the size of a pea, allowing them to carry massive amounts of it within the confines of their body. And just like your previous opponent, the Muscle Man, the telekinetic barrier offers them a near unyielding defensive capability, on top of its ability to compress the fluid, allowing them to carry much more of it. And then there is the final phase, step 3, the release. Throughout the body of the host, the symbiote creates release ports or valves that allow them to excrete this substance. The moment it comes into contact with air, it ignites with, well, an immense amount of destructive force. This alone would be exceptionally powerful, especially given the compression and force in which it's pumped out. But the Voskuhl bloodline, of course, doesn't rest on its laurels there. From that point, they extend it even further. Step 4 is all-out destructive amplification through a very simple telekinetic process, the telekinetic manipulation of air. They form vacuums that rapidly pull in air, forcing it out in whatever way they so desire. Using this, they are able to force the explosion into exceptionally finite and concentrated blasts that will burn their way through, well, basically anything. The all-out destructive power of it is insane. Using these abilities, they are able to move at breakneck speeds, far faster than even we of the King's Candidate, we of the royal bloodline can move, at least without modification from the King's power. Basically, they are able to produce jets, areas of propulsion to push their body around, like strapping a rocket to a car. The speed yielded from this is extraordinary. That, along with their telekinetic barrier, making their body a blunt instrument of destruction that moves extraordinarily fast, allows them a perfect combination of near unbeatable speed, power, and destruction at both close, mid, and long range. No matter the range to their enemy, their destructive powers are always dangerous. Truthfully, there is no good way to fight them. It doesn't matter what range you try to use. To them, it's all the same. Their destructive powers can reach you nonetheless. But as I said, this is the worst case scenario. Hopefully, we will be able to stop this Black Dog Syndicate and Becky before the Voskuhl bloodline finds a host. I mean, why would your people even give up the Voskuhl bloodline? Don't they realize how dangerous it would be for them? I mean, you're trying to save them. You must understand, Keven, the resources that we have are not infinite. No matter how useful the protein compound that we live in on board the ship might be, it will not sustain us eternally. We grow weaker the longer we stay inside of it. Without hosts, it has already been an exceptionally long journey here. We were basically at the end of our rope when we arrived. The Voskuhl bloodline is too powerful to be lost. It is one of our strongest bloodlines. Turning down a host that has king's blood would be the epitome of foolishness for our kind. We cannot afford it. The loss of such a powerful bloodline would be a detriment to our entire race. So of course, if one is presented, they will claim it. Whoa, this is some really heavy stuff, Vicky's voice said, looking very deterred. I can so not hang with that. What am I supposed to do if someone like that comes after me? All I can do is bounce sound waves around. Do not worry, Echo, or Vicky voice, Nylea's orb replied. It is unlikely that the wielder of the Voskuhl bloodline will target you. Regardless of who they choose, it is most certain that they will possess very specific characteristics. Because of the power of the Voskuhl bloodline, even if they have king's blood, they must still possess the other characteristics required. This includes a powerful sense of challenge, someone who yearns for combat, who is enticed by the thrill of a powerful adversary, and looks down on wasting their abilities on the weak. They will want to fight the strongest opponent, and will not waste their time on you. They will most likely consider it beneath them. Okay, so, Voskuhl bloodline finding a bad host would be very bad for us. So, we need to get cracking on tearing down Becky's little empire, which is actually going to be difficult, seeing as other than the fact that she's sort of a hoity-toity rich girl, we basically don't know anything else about her, who she is, where she comes from. So I guess we sort of have to narrow that down. Otherwise, she's just going to keep throwing symbiotes at us. If we can take her out, then it's possible we can take out the entire organization. I mean, honestly, I don't think Becky is as dangerous or powerful as she really needs to be. She's in control via circumstance. She was simply the first person that you guys interacted with, and she took advantage of it. Honestly, it would sound like a much worse deal if, for say, this Voskuhl bloodline were the one in charge. That would be dangerous. Far more so than what we're currently dealing with. Becky doesn't strike me as the master of all things, who has a master plan for everything. She just seemed like a power-hungry chick. She wants to rule the world. She saw an opportunity and she took it. But that doesn't make her a master tactician or planner. Just very opportunistic. Her control over the other symbiotes is based on the fact that She's manipulating the hatchlings, not the adults. Because they're hatchlings, she's able to enforce her psychic wavelength on them, force them to be subservient to her. That's how she controls all of the people serving her. But that's also the reason she's been looking for the king's bloodline. Because honestly, only the king's bloodline has true authority over the race. Becky's stuck taking control of them one by one. She's looking for the king's power, the offspring of the royal bloodline, so that she can assume control of all of them by taking control of the royal bloodline. In other words, me. In order to claim the prize that she really wants, she has to be able to beat me and enforce dominance over the hatchling that I'm currently hosting. And I have no intentions of making it easy on her.